If you're a work from home mom and you're struggling to get more done and be productive in your business, this video is for you. Hi, my name is May and I help makers, artists, and designers make a consistent income with their handmade products online. But in today's video, I've brought on my very good friend and business buddy, Stacy Trock, who's a mom and who also runs her own business. I met Stacy in 2013. She started and used to run Fresh Stitches, an amigurumi crochet pattern business. She's written crochet books, she's taught classes on Craftsy or Blueprint and Creative Live, and in a ton of different fiber arts conferences. You might have heard of Stacy. So she sold Fresh Stitches a few years ago, and now she freelances as a marketing consultant, copywriter, and social media expert. I figure since I don't have any human kids of my own, that Stacy would be the next best person to bring on to share with you how you can be more productive as a work from home mom. Stacy has played such a huge role in helping me and my own businesses grow, so I'm excited to share with you her 6 tips on productivity as a mom. This video is totally free for you to watch, so please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for more handmade business tips, and leave a comment below with your favorite tip or a tip of your own that you'd like to share with us. Let's bring Stacy on.
Hi, I'm Stacy Trock. I'm a marketing consultant and mom of one to Maddie, who's 5 years old. I've had the full range of working from home while watching Maddie, having babysitters come into the house, having her go to daycare, back to homeschooling during coronavirus. So I've experienced the full spectrum of working with a little person at home, and today I'm here to share my productivity tips. This isn't really a productivity tip, but it's super, super important, so I'm putting it on my list anyway, and it's to ditch the mom guilt. I hear so many small business owners say things like, "Oh, sorry, honey, I have to go to work now. Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't read you a book. It's just that I have to go do this work." And it sounds like some sneaky little, hobby you're doing, and it's not. If you're working, that is an amazing thing for your family. You're working to bring in money that gives your children things that they wouldn't otherwise be able to have. And in our house, work and hard work ethic is a family value. It's something to really be proud of. So I don't ever say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I have to go to work." Work is just something I do. And that's something I want to teach Maddie to respect. So I say, "It's time for me to go to work. Here's your plan," or "Here's whatnot," because I want her to grow up valuing what I do and to also value work as something that she'll be doing herself one day. So I avoid the word "I'm sorry" and work on cultivating a really proud philosophy around going to work. Big productivity tip, I ascribe to work hard, play hard. That means that when I'm working, I'm working. And when I'm playing with Maddie, I'm playing. Or when I'm playing, doing my fun knitting, I'm playing. I so many times see people trying to multitask, juggle, do it all. And in the end, it can end up like you're not really doing anything. So I've been tempted before. Maddie will wander in and say, "Oh, can I help you do your work?" Help. And I'll say, "Oh, sure." And she sits on my lap and helps me type emails. And what happens is an email that would have taken 3 minutes for me to write now takes 20 minutes. And you might think, "Oh, well, at least you're spending time together." But at the end of the day, your work's not getting done. And for the kid, that doesn't really count as playtime for them either. So you're sort of accomplishing neither here nor there. So I separate out my work into working chunks and my play into play chunks. So when I'm playing with Maddie, I'm not on my phone scrolling around trying to get work done. Kids can tell if you're like sneaking out on their playing, and that's where I see with my friends and other people who work from home, that's sort of where the tension starts to arise, is the kid notices like, hey, you said you were playing with me and you've actually been looking at your phone for 20 minutes. And that's where you can have a little bit of extra tension. So when I'm playing, I'm playing. And when I'm working, I expect that I get my work time in a dedicated fashion, and I'm going to talk about that in my next tip. And so that separation, I feel like, is really helpful for productivity. It sets the expectations for everyone in the family about what's going on, and it also means that you're genuinely spending time engaged in your work, and you're genuinely spending time engaged in your family. It doesn't mean that crazy stuff doesn't come up. For sure, I've been playing or off duty and I get a message across my phone and I hear the ding and it's something really urgent. And in that case, I say, oh, something really urgent has come through. I'm going to finish reading this chapter to you, and then I need to go work for about a half hour. And that sets the standard for what I'm about to do. And if it happens rarely, then there's no hurt feelings all around. If you're interested in reading a bit more about delving deep in your work and what value you get from setting aside work time, I really encourage you to read Deep Work. That's a great book. And also Indistractable is a really good one about how important it is that when you're working, you're actually working and you're not just being assailed all the time and trying to multitask and do everything at the same time. So it's really important to set a schedule that works for everyone and gives you this dedicated time that you need to get your work done. As I mentioned, the book Indistractable, you cannot be doing real important work if you think every 2 minutes you might be being asked a question about a grilled cheese sandwich. So it's imperative that you set aside this time in a way that works with your family to get deep, concentrated work available to you. This may mean a kind of wacky schedule. So I would have cringed in my previous life to hear myself say this, but I wake up at about 6 a.m. and that's an hour or two before anyone else in my house wakes up. And this is an approach that I've read about a lot. So the book I Know How She Does It by Laura Vanderkam, she wakes up early. Gretchen Rubin wakes up early. Getting a little bit of time early in the morning before anyone else is awake allows me to do something really solid that is time I'm not going to be disturbed in. That doesn't work for everyone. Some moms work during nap time. Some moms work during when their child is at a play date. Whatever that time is, you need to set aside some time where you're not going to be disturbed. Since Maddie was about, I'd say late 2s, probably 3, it's been part of her schedule that she has quiet time or independent time. We change what it's called depending on her age, so that the expectation is that she's working on something that's really engaging to her, but I have the time to myself to work on what I need to be working on. And it's funny because when I talk to different parents about that, some parents think, an hour? Are you kidding? That's all you tell her she has to play by myself? My kids play for like 5 hours by themselves out in the backyard. And that's awesome, and I'm jealous. Other parents say, are you kidding? An hour? I can't get my kid to play by themselves for 5 minutes. And I would say that's what the camp most of my friends are in. And to that, an hour is something you work up to. Now that she's 5, it can actually go longer than that. And this goes back to what your family values are and setting a rhythm and an expectation. So it's super important that we are able to work on a project for a long time and respect the time that different family members need. And so the value of training a little bit of independent time in your child, I've found really important, especially if we don't have outside childcare, which is the situation that we are in if we're homeschooling, or if the schools aren't open, or if it's just simply a choice you've made to have your child at home. having an expectation of independent time is a really great one. Also, I talked about setting a schedule that works for everyone in your family. Your partner, if a partner is in your life, is a part of your family, and talking about the time that you need with them is really important. So I work in the mornings, I get up early, I work, and then my husband's on childcare duty until about noon, and that's when I do my work. And he knows that during that time, he's not to disturb me. And then we shift and I do childcare in the afternoon. It may be your partner who is taking on some childcare and guarding your time to make sure that you're not being interrupted. It may be a grandparent that you have who lives nearby and comes and plays with your child for an hour or two. It may be a babysitter that you have. And so setting up a schedule that works for you and also works for your family that gives you dedicated work time. Be vigilant about keeping track of tasks and due dates. So I probably, like you, work on a limited number of hours, and when I sit down to work, I need to get my work done. And there's absolutely nothing more frustrating than sitting down to work and you can't find the login, or you realize that this piece of information you needed was never emailed to you, and then you can't do your work. So I've become super diligent about tracking all of the information I use. The software or the app or the system is completely up to you and depends on your work style. I use Trello. I know May uses Asana. Some people just use maybe some Post-it notes or a Word document or whatever it is. You need a way of keeping track of information so that balls don't get dropped, especially since you likely don't have an 8-hour solid block of time where you can just get things done. So for example, if I have a project for a client, I use Trello, which works by using cards. I have a card for that project and I take notes on what steps I've reached, and I keep all of the information in that card. So if I have the due date, that's where it would be. If there's a Google folder, it would be there. If there's a task that I need to do to follow up to make sure I have some information, that would be put on my calendar. And I'm keeping all of that information together so that when I sit down to work, I'm not like looking around like, oh geez, where did I put that? What's it? Where did I put this? And that is really important, especially if we have short bits of time or we do end up getting interrupted. It's so easy to think, oh, I'll remember that I had to order those things on Friday, and then you totally don't. And it's not just that one problem, but it then has knock-on effects, right? So if you don't place the order when you had thought you should have, then the next stage of your process is going to be delayed. And then the client's not going to receive what they wanted on time, and then that's a bad rating on your review. So and you go on. So being successful and productive really relies on a way of keeping track of your tasks and due dates in a way that works for you. For the success of your business, it's really important to separate the important from the urgent. So, and what I mean by that is there are loads of things that seem really urgent. I need a peanut butter sandwich. Oh, this customer's emailing me and their package is lost. There's lots of urgent things, and our tendency as human beings is to address the urgent thing, putting out the fires, right? And what happens is if all you're doing is putting out the fires, you're not moving your business forward. So just to stick with the fire analogy, if all you're doing all the time is spraying your water around, you'll never notice that there's a hole in the hose and that next week you're not going to be able to put out any fires, right? So it's important to set aside a bit of time, and whether you do it each week or each day, it depends on your style, to write out your business goals and make sure you're setting steps so that you can move your business forward. Things that move your business forward might be creating better systems. It might be installing better software. It could be researching a new supplier. It could be hiring an employee. All of these things are things, they never feel terribly urgent, right? Like if you've had on your to-do list, find accountant to handle my bookkeeping nightmare, it never feels especially urgent because it's not due tomorrow, but it's important. And you're not going to be able to grow your business unless you're also focusing on what's important. Another analogy I've seen that I really like is if you have a vase and you have big rocks and little rocks and dirt, if you put the dirt in first, there's not going to be enough room for all of the big rocks. But if you put the big rocks in first and then you pour the little rocks and the dirt on top, then everything will fit because the dirt will fill in the cracks. And so when you're setting your to-do list, those big rocks are the important things to your business. So make sure to schedule them in your calendar so that your business is growing and the little dirt of emails and things like that will fill in the cracks, because those tasks, if left unchecked, they'll fill the amount of space that you have to give them. A little thing that I do is I like to get an important task done in my day first before I check my email, because otherwise I'll just be checking my email all day. So make sure to schedule time for those important tasks. For maximum productivity, habits matter. So we're all creatures of habit. You probably wake up every morning and you have a sip of water, or you go to the bathroom, or you put on your slippers. We all do these same sorts of things every day, and that's actually a brilliant thing because habits save us time. When you have a habit of staying hydrated or whatever it is, that's something that you do on autopilot and you don't have to think about. So when you do habits for your personal life, but add habits in to your work life. So just as an example, if I know May does this, if she's running low on a certain supply, she has a number, and oh, this thing is down to 10, I need to put that on my to make list, right? Or if I record this video, then I need to send it to my video editor to edit. These are habits. They're also systems, but that take a lot of the hard decision work out of getting things done. And doing this is so important because there's a lot of things that we do in our business over and over again. And the more we can streamline those processes, the more efficient we'll be. So let's say that you make a certain kind of product and you always follow the same steps, but you find yourself in the middle being like, where did I put this thing again? Or how do I do this thing again? That's a sign that you need to add in some habits. So habits have two parts. They have a cue, so that's the thing that tells you, oh, it's time to do that. And then they have a reward, and that's the result that you get from having done a habit well. So if you're a product maker and you, let's say you do mixed media art and you are forever losing your hole punch, a habit that you might want to work on forming would be, when you're finished using the hole punch, put it back on this shelf, right? And so your cue for that would be, oh, I'm done and I'm about to set it on the table, but now I'm going to put it up on the shelf. And your reward will be a clean workspace and also the speed in finding it next time. A great book for this is Atomic Habits. This is a book by James Clear about making very small habit changes, right? So we tend to think of goals as being, I'm going to run 5 miles a day, or I'm going to do these epically huge things, but it's actually these little actions that we're doing dozens or hundreds of times a day that can end up making huge productivity gains in our lives. The last little bit of words of wisdom from Stacy, it aren't a productivity tip, but it's something that's been on my mind a lot recently, and I just wanted to share it with you. And that is, accept the trade-offs that come along with running a small business and being a mom. I think we're all told this myth of having it all. And in some sense, I do have it all because I have an adorable child and a great business. But that having it all isn't the same as you could have obtained if you had no children. And I struggled with that for a while. And I think the secret is just accepting it and sort of loving where you're at right now. So I'll give you just an example. I'm going to take me and May. We've known each other for a long time. And we're both amazing, wonderful people. But I can tell you how this plays out because it's a pretty good comparison. So let's go back to 2014. May and I were both running small businesses, sort of at the same level. And she also started Creative Hive, right? So she was now running 2 businesses. I started this project called Having Maddie. And that's when she was born at the start of 2015. And I also started doing some marketing consulting. So in some sense, we were both running 2 businesses and I had Maddie. Now let's keep going to 2017. Both of May's businesses are doing freaking amazing. I mean, she works really hard. She puts a ton of time into it. It's no surprise. But both Creative Hive and Tiny Hands were just doing absolutely amazing, and they still are. At 2017, I made the decision to sell my handmade business because I couldn't put the time and mental energy into running both of them successfully. And I know you shouldn't say couldn't. Maybe I could have, but I was at the brink of being driven mad by trying to balance this all. And maybe I could have done things differently, but that's the reality of what happened. And now let's go forward to 2020, where we are now. And May is learning Chinese, and she's pursuing an acting career, and she's also learning the guitar. And I am so excited if I get in a half-hour run and get to read a book for a half hour. But my business is successful. So there are the trade-offs, and it's easy to sort of look at someone else and be like, oh my gosh, why aren't I like that? And the answer is just there's a different amount of time available, and you can't beat yourself up over that. Someone who's taking care of a child spends a large part of their day taking care of a child. And even if you have help, there's still mental energy associated with worrying about what school they're going to get into, whether they should go to the, this kind of music lesson or not. And so my recent insight is working on accepting these trade-offs because they're inevitable and they're also a limited time. So as your children grow older, you'll then have more free time that you can put back into your career. So don't compare yourself and be really jazzed about what you're accomplishing because you're being a mom and running a business, which is incredibly awesome as it is, and you should pat yourself on the back for that.
I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoyed all of Stacy's tips. There is so much wisdom and truth in what she says, and when I first met Stacy, I was still a kid myself, and I've learned so much from her over the years about business and self-development, and I have no doubt, if or when I have kids, that I'll be asking Stacy for a lot of parenting advice as well. If you want to follow Stacy or hire her for your business, you can find her on her website at stacytrock.com or on Instagram at stacytrock. Let me know in the comments which one of Stacy's tips is your favorite, or if you have one of your own tips that you want to share with us. Give this video a like and subscribe for more handmade business tips, and stay on to watch another great video.